we're not going to make another season 1.
Okay.
When something so beautiful has been created, you leave it there.
Yeah.
And season 2 is not in a race with season 1.
Definitely.
The point is they're both equipped to being extremely strong, powerful, and passionately made projects.
Delhi is it's a changing city. It's a city that's changed so much in 20 years, 30 years. Its borders have grown. People have come, from all over Delhi.
Hello everyone, welcome to PeepingMoon.com. I'm Rashita, Sahni. Not a lot of times do you come across a show that leaves such a deep impact in your hearts and souls. And well, luckily enough, we have with us today Tanuj, Rasika Dugal, Shefali Shah and Tillotama, who are all set to present Delhi Crime 2 to us. Hi you guys, how have you been?
Good.
Very well, how are you?
Good as well. There's this transition now. I have watched the second season as well. It is as impactful or even better, I must say, from the first one. So yeah, congratulations on that. There is this... there is this thing with Delhi Crime. More than all the best, we always feel like saying congratulations because in our heart, we know it's going to be something good and big. How was this transition? Of course, you two were there for the first one. Tillotama, you are coming. You are a surprise package in this one as well. And Tanuj, of course, you have hemmed this one. How has that process of transitioning from 1 to 2 been for you?
I guess I can start. You're inheriting such a amazing cast. You're inheriting such a great IP and a style. So people always talk about the pressure, but I saw the amazing opportunity that the show has and can be. And as great as season 1 was, a lot of people couldn't watch it. It was very difficult. So the hope was to be able to create something that still has the hard-hitting, raw social commentary, gritty style, but maybe more people can watch it because the nature of the case might, is a different one. Yeah. And then more than that, people in the season 1, they knew about the case, but then they stayed for the characters. And in season 2, they're coming back for our characters and they'll learn about the case. So it's becoming more about our cops, I think. And that's a fun challenge, especially when you have these kind of performers.
Correct.
And I think it's on the screen. These people have given an amazing performance. And Shefali Shah's performance is amazing. And you've seen the moments with, Rasika and Akash. It's... I feel often lucky. I just feel like another fan sometimes.
I'm sure the performances are, I think, the backbone of Delhi Crime 2 as well. Rasika, how has it been for you?
We are all critical of our work when we watch it, and I'm generally hard to please. And but I think, and I always feel that whenever you work on something, we're reasonably discerning people, and any show or film that we've created is not flawless. There are issues with it. But Delhi Crime 1 was one of those shows that I was very, very, very proud of. Like, even a person like me couldn't nitpick even when I wanted to. There was, I think, 99% of the things were things that I was very proud of. In fact, there was, I thought the material was dealt with even more sensitively than I had imagined. And that it superseded my expectations. So I feel very honored to be a part of this show and to be back in season 2. I also really, really like Neeti Singh. She's one of those roles that I've played where I feel she's very close to the person I am. And she's very close to the person I was in my college days. And I'm very happy to revisit that kind of, that idealism that I used to have. So it's always nice to be back on this show. And I'm saying always, I hope there's going to be more opportunities.
We need 3, 4, 5, it shouldn't end.
Yes.
Sorry.
Say it from the rooftop.
Shefali, there was this time where they used to say कि तब्बू है तो picture चलेगी, and now it is Shefali है तो पता है अच्छा ही होगा चलेगा ही. I remember talking to you during Darlings and telling you the same thing. Of course, the response has been incredible for that as well. Congratulations. And now with Delhi Crime 2, how quickly I see, now I watched you there and then I watched you here in Delhi Crime. I feel how effortlessly you slip into the character. I can't even imagine poles apart like Shamshu and here Vartika. So how do you do that?
Well, that's why I'm an actor.
Yeah.
So I can become these different characters. And when you get opportunities like that, the kind that I have been getting in the last 1 year or 2 years or whatever, if I don't make the most of it and turn into different people on screen, then I'd be really stupid. Also, DC is my baby. It's so dear to me. It's just, I want to answer the question you asked, Tanuj and Rasika. How does it feel going from DC1 to DC2? I'd say from strength to strength. I mean, that's the way I would describe it. It's that. Coming back to your other question, yes, there is a lot of effort that goes into it. And because I bank so heavily on my instinct and impulse, I always have this fear that someday if it doesn't work, what am I going to do? Because I don't have craft to fall back on. But touch wood, it's worked. So I think I should stick to it.
Correct. Tillotama, now as I mentioned, you come across as this surprise package. Your character is one of those, roles that we see and we really want to see more of it. We get intrigued. That is what you play in Delhi Crime too. But having said that, yours is the only character that you had the lineage to play with it, because you didn't carry the burden of being someone from Delhi Crime 1. How did that work for you?
Well, Delhi Crime 1 was a show that, as an audience was a huge fan of. So it was a bit, the challenge was walking into a world that is already so well knit. But the character is a disruptor, so it was great to be an outsider in that sense and come into this world which has a system and order, and she inhabits a world where the systems are just failing her, and there's a sense of chaos and a looming sense of things falling apart. I just felt very lucky to join a show like this, and not because it did really well. I mean, that's great, but because of the kind of actors that are in it and their journeys. The success of Delhi Crime was really like a beacon of hope for many, many actors, and their success, them finding an audience, was like a story with a happy ending for many actors, including me. So coming to that show was really special. It was made more special by the fact that, Tanuj was helming it, and we have worked before when we were, just coming out of, a film school for him, and I'd just done my first film, and we had collaborated, and his trust in me after getting a call after so many years to do something was very heartening, because when you get a big opportunity to call an old friend with whom you worked back in the day, I was very touched by that. You could have easily called so many other actors who are. I
don't think so, actually. There's not. I don't think so. There's only one Tillotama Shome. Let's just be clear about this.
Agreed.
I totally agree.
This part does not work with any other actor, to be honest with you.
I couldn't think of anyone else.
No, but it's, there's something like there's a wonderful director called Jia Janke who's made these incredible films, and I love his films. So there was a talk and Mami had organized, and he was asked that what is it about your process as a director who's made so many films over so many years, and his films had all been banned in his own home country and survived only because of international audiences. And he said the one thing that I did was I worked, the crew that worked with me when we were students, we kept that.
Yeah.
And we just grew. Like our personal lives, our families, we knew each other's backgrounds, what our shortcomings, our strengths, and that camaraderie. And then of course it was not a closed set, like new people joined the caravan, but we grew together, and there's a certain language that develops between people who work together over a period of time. And I think that was something like there's so much shorthand, and I feel that with Rasika, we didn't have really scenes here, but I'm very curious, like after Kissa, if we work together on something else, like this shorthand of understanding each other, that develops is not something you can articulate, but it's really growing and seeing each other over a period of time, having each other's back, that comfort of what do you need as an actor, as a co-actor, like, I really want Like, that's what I feel like when you work with, in a setup like that, you really want to be there for the team. And that feeling is really something that was very much there in this show, because I couldn't believe that he called me, and we hadn't spoken for like a really long time. So it was really like, hey, yeah, I'm doing Delhi crime. I was like, what? Like, because our world was like a world when I was a student in New York, and then I'd met Rasika. We'd done a film together, and then she went to do Delhi crime. Shefali was 20 years ago from Monsoon Wedding. So it's like the favorite parts of my life that were like
Blended
different,
together.
like pies, had suddenly come together and made this complete pie. And all my favorites in one serving. It was just like, wow, man, it took 20 years to have this thing come together. That was very special.
Glad to hear that.
Such a long answer.
No, but such a, I got
This is good. I got
goosebumps.
goosebumps. I just got goosebumps.
Full answer. But Delhi crime also made us proud. Firstly, it being made us proud. But then it won the Emmy Award. It was a big, big, big thing for all of us here in India. I remember I was in office when I got to know, and I was like, what? Because a lot of times they're nominated, and then I'm like, okay, let them, win. And then you tell me. And then they were like, no, they have won it. I was like, oh my God, this is such a big thing. And I remember there was chaos, everyone trying to, file it first. We have to put the news out. So it was a really, really exciting piece of news for us. And I think ever since, the anticipation for the season 2 has been there. Now, does that come from a place of reassurance for all you people, or does it sort of put some pressure because the expectations is at an all-time high right now?
I don't know. I feel very. The expectations are there, and obviously it's releasing tomorrow, and maybe the night before all my cool goes out the window. But I don't know. I feel really cool about it. Like, look, we can't make season 1 again. We're not trying to. And the Emmy is a great thing. If it happens, you're lucky. Do you make this for the Emmy? No, you make it for the people. We want people to watch this. More than the Emmy, I want more people all over the world to fall in love with this. You have world-class performers here on this show. It's not just about the Emmy, but all eyeballs should be on this. Look at what happened with Squid Games. Look at what happened. Look at what's happened with all kinds of Korean cinema. Why can't Delhi Crime be that show? So yeah, there's a thought of the Emmy and there's pressure, but it's just an award. What about making a great show that goes for 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, 5 seasons? That's epic. That has a reach that everybody around the world watches. I mean, there's more to do.
Of course, and we would love that. We would want every season, like every 2 years, we would want to see one season, because I know how long.
No, don't give him 2 years, huh? Every year we want to see one season.
No, but all you talented actors giving date every year together will be a
Trust
difficult
me,
task.
for DC, it's
will.
like, huh.
Sahi hai. Okay, can't wait. Rasika, you tell me.
About?
About feeling the pressure, or do you take it as reassurance?
Feeling the pressure because of the Emmy, or?
Because in general, the anticipation.
No, I don't feel any pressure. I know that directors and writers feel pressure, because I feel like actors can easily absolve themselves of responsibility if required. कि अच्छा हुआ तो हाँ, actor की वजह से अच्छा हुआ, बुरा हुआ तो director की गलती है. So I don't take that pressure.
Every time you tell that story, my heart falls out of me.
Yeah, I know. This
So
is
reassuring.
This is what we used to
this 5
say
times.
to the direction students in film school, when we were there. So I don't feel pressure. I feel excited about how the audience is going to respond to some things that we've done in the show, and some things that we so carefully and meticulously put in there. So I'm curious to see whether that's noticed and whether it resonates with people or not. So excited, curious, and no pressure, and not nervous. Yeah.
Fantastic. Shefali?
Well, the first conversation that Tanuj and me had when we met for the first time was, we're not going to make another season 1.
Okay.
When something so beautiful has been created, you leave it there.
Yeah.
And season 2 is not in a race with season 1.
Definitely.
The point is they're both equipped to being extremely strong, powerful, and passionately made projects. Emmy was a cherry on the sundae. We don't know where DC2 is going to go. As far as I am concerned, yes, I'm nervous. Yes, I'm anxious. I'm very excited. And more than everything, I'm so proud of what we went out there and created. So whatever happens after this, I mean, I would proudly take responsibility along with all of you. Just saying.
Yes, Madam Sir.
Okay, great. Lotma, what about you?
I wasn't part of season 1, so no pressure.
No pressure.
But I definitely don't want to let them down because, you know, their closeness and ownership of the show is so massive. And I know how much it meant to them. Like, I've met them after the show, the way they talk about the show. It was just like, you know, it's something that the water runs deep,
Yeah.
you know, with this one. And definitely I didn't want to disappoint, you know, them and Tanuj. We'll never call an old friend again. And all the old friends in this list get cancelled because of, you know, that one call. But, you know, I don't know, you can't, you don't perform for, at least you don't perform thinking what kind of validation or criticism you'll get. Because it's so about being in that moment.
Yeah.
So in that moment, either it feels right or feels wrong. And either you don't have the time to get it right and you feel bad about that, but it's not about what's really going to happen, right? In the future, which you don't know when it'll be, when it'll release, and what, you know, it's too far away. So when you're really shooting, you just enjoy being in that moment. And it was like, for me, the pressure was to get the action sequence right, actually, because that was a long shot, and you know, it was a complicated choreography. Yeah.
Great. Now, lastly, of course, my parting question has to be this. The show's name is Delhi Crime. It shows, you know, the kind of criminal records, activities that our country deals with. Despite us being like a progressive society and breaking through those all stereotypical patriarchal things that have been followed for so long, it's very disheartening to see such crimes still take place, be it crime against women or crime against families in general. How do you take it as someone who has been here in this country? What do you think are we doing wrong, or what are we lacking in that we have to, you know, still be there and hear about all of these gruesome criminal records and criminal activities that are happening?
But don't all countries have crime?
They do, but here we are talking about, you know, crime in India or crime in Delhi. So how do you take it as here in India? Because it has been increased, especially after 2020, the criminal records and there is a very good dialogue in the show that you say that it's good that it's been recorded now. So maybe that is why we see that it's increased. Maybe it's a good thing that people are at least going and getting it recorded now.
Well, my answer was simply, you know, is that, yeah, the kinds of things you read in the police blotter and in the news in Delhi is unlike other places. Yes, there are gruesome crimes, but it is something that is worldwide. Everybody deals with the kind of, oftentimes the spotlight isn't on other cities, or we just see the shiny exterior, but we don't see the interior. Delhi is a place that lives very, you know, open, very raw, very, you get the good and the bad right on your face. And it's a fact of life. It's a part of the city. We can try to dismantle it a little bit, you know, with this show, but I think that, you know, we are still, we have a long way to go.
Okay, agreed.
I mean, difficult for me to say,
Yeah.
but I mean, any society which has disparity and discriminations, there will be the presence of crime. And every society goes through a cyclical pattern of there being phases where it is sort of better, and there being phases where it's not. So now exactly why crime rates go high is not something that I can comment on.
Also, you know, Delhi is it's a changing city. It's a city that's changed so much in 20 years, 30 years. Its borders have grown. People have come, you know, from all over Delhi. What is Delhi? The definition of Delhi, it keeps changing, you know, and there are two Delhis, and there's three Delhis, there's four Delhis, there's multiple Delhis, and I think you know, part of what we read about is a part of this growth, and is a part of this modernization and how Delhi grapples with its identity, amongst tremendous, national change as well, and in a time of global change, and in a time of pandemic, and in a time of a declining environment too. These are all hard questions compounded with a growing, dense city that already has a history of violence and attitudes, and yet there's no place like Delhi in the world too. The kinds of people you'll meet, the kind of heart, the kind of soul the city has. There's a lot to be hopeful for with the city, and there's a lot to love about the city, but the city wrestles with itself.
Completely agreed. Yeah, definitely. Shefali?
Well, one thing is I agree with what Rasika said. I mean, I want to repeat it, is that I'm ill-equipped to answering this question. But what you're asking is exactly the questions we're raising in Delhi crime. And everyone is forced to ask those questions. Vartika's going through it all the time. That, okay, this one is a criminal on the face of it, but are we as a society contributing to the making, as we contribute to the making of good, do we also contribute to the making of bad? And then am I as much responsible? So just trying to say that, how is it going to change? Well, I think we can start from ourselves.
Correct.
I don't know what is the change. I wish I had an answer. I wish anybody had an answer. Nobody wants crime in their country, their society. And another thing is that I don't think, crime is everywhere. But yes, like she said, the disparity of caste, class, creed, color, gender, of religion, of the financial, division, it's so drastic in a country like that, in a country like India, that it's probably, it's more in your face. But I think crime happens everywhere, and I think the change can only start with everyone changing themselves individually. I wish I knew how, but...
Absolutely. Tillotama?
Again, I just feel like from a behavioral science perspective, having worked in a correctional facility, we just had field trips to Tihar, so my understanding of the nuances of the system here in India is not as much as I've worked in a prison in America. So I feel like if one has to really deal with crime, one has to relook at methods of punishment.
Okay.
And I think looking at how we punish crime and how we reward a humanitarian kind of behavior, I think we have to make it attractive to be humane and to respect people who have, who have come from a walk of life that is different from ours. And I think when that difference is so stark, and there is a majority of a population that is largely unseen, unheard, and invisible, it's just human nature to do something so horrific to be seen, to be heard, So I think the way we reward respect for life and not make it as something that would be said in a beauty pageant, and make that really attractive in our popular culture, and relook at punishment. I think then we can, crime is an effect, it's not a cause.
Yeah.
So, we need to look at the causality of it,
Agreed to whatever you said as well. And of course, coming to the end of the interview, I'd just like to mention how I can absolutely not wait for the season 3 already. Now that I'm done watching the second one, I already want it on my Netflix account. So can't wait for you guys to reunite again, make another special Delhi crime for all of us who, love the season. Thank you for this important conversation.
Thank you.
Most welcome. And thank you.
Thank you.